Located in the heart of Chicago in middle of the constant hum of city life and towering skyscrapers, was a place of refuge known as the Paxton Hotel. This unassuming building was a haven for many, providing shelter and a sense of peace. Yet, in 1993, this peaceful shelter met a tragic fate. A ruthless fire erupted, swallowing the hotel in its fiery grasp, leaving behind a path of destruction and heartbreak. It was a seemingly ordinary night when the fire began its deadly journey in room 121 of the Paxton Hotel. The time was around 4:05 a.m., and the first call reporting the fire pierced the stillness of the early morning. From its humble origins, the blaze quickly gained strength, fueled by fierce winds that whipped through the building, feeding the flames and spreading panic among its inhabitants. As firefighters rushed to the scene, they were met with a scene of chaos and desperation. Dozens of people clung to ledges or hung precariously out of windows, their only escape from the suffocating smoke and searing heat that threatened to consume them. The first responders bravely entered the fray, their courage matched only by the ferocity of the blaze they faced. Upon arrival, they found the first-floor hallway relatively clear of smoke, but in the southwest corner of the building, they encountered a scene of utter devastation. The stairway was engulfed in flames, with 2 first-floor rooms also consumed by fire. Despite their valiant efforts, the firefighters were unable to contain the rapidly spreading inferno, forced to retreat as part of the stairway collapsed beneath them. As the situation grew increasingly dire, more alarms were sounded, summoning additional units to the scene. With the smoke billowing from upper-story windows and frantic cries for help echoing through the night, the scale of the disaster became painfully clear. The battle against the flames raged on, with firefighters deploying ground ladders and employing every resource at their disposal to rescue those trapped inside. Before we continue, it would be helpful if you could support our growing channel by subscribing and liking this video, as the fire spread rapidly due to several factors. It began in combustible, concealed spaces within the building and quickly spread up the stairways, which did not have doors. The corridors lacked subdivisions, which could have helped contain the fire. Additionally, the building did not have an operating building-wide fire alarm system, which could have alerted the residents sooner. There was also a delay in notifying the fire department due to the absence of fire detection equipment. The fire spread so quickly that by the time the first firefighters arrived, some residents had to shimmy down bed sheets or jump from smoke and fire-filled rooms 2 to 4 stories above the rain-slicked street. Tragically, at least one woman died when she jumped from a window trying to escape the inferno. A 22-year-old woman, Leslie Matthews, leaped from the 3rd or 4th floor with her 4-month-old baby, Jaleesa, in her arms. The fire resulted in the tragic loss of 20 lives and over 24 injuries. The victims were mostly poor, elderly, or both. Some of the victims died due to smoke inhalation, while others died from injuries sustained while trying to escape the burning building. Over 24 people were injured in the fire. The injuries ranged from burns to smoke inhalation, and several people suffered spinal cord injuries from jumping out of windows. Firefighters rescued 60 people from windows and off ledges. The first 2 engines on the scene used ladders and baskets to rescue 23 people from the burning structure. The investigation of the Pam Paxton Hotel fire in 1993 was conducted by the National Fire Protection Association. The investigation revealed several factors that contributed to the tragic loss of 20 lives and over 24 injuries. The cause of the fire was not definitively determined. Both accidental causes and arson were investigated. Speculation included the possibility that a faulty electrical cord may have sparked the fire. Investigators also brought in trained dogs to sniff for possible accelerants and sent debris to a lab for analysis. In the aftermath of the fire, the city began re-examining fire and safety codes at all single-room occupancy buildings. The Paxton Hotel had no fire alarm or sprinklers because single-room occupancy buildings were allowed to have lower fire protection standards than other hotels. This designation was made after building owners and homeless advocates argued that these buildings were safer than transient hotels and so-called flop houses. The Paxton Hotel was owned by a secret land trust, in which the names of the owners were kept secret by a bank or title company. After the fire, there were calls for improving safety standards, including the installation of sprinkler systems, fire alarms, fire doors, and other measures. There were also suggestions for mandatory fire drills for large, single-room occupancy buildings like the Paxton Hotel. While the police bomb and arson squad maintained that the Paxton fire was accidental, the fire department and other officials brought up the possibility that it may have been set deliberately because of the way it traveled so quickly through the stairwells. However, no individual or group was officially held responsible for the fire. The tragic incident served as a wake-up call for the need for improved fire safety measures in similar types of buildings. In the aftermath of the Paxton Hotel fire, investigators delved into the factors that contributed to the loss of 20 lives and left over 24 others injured. The National Fire Protection Association's thorough investigation uncovered a multitude of shortcomings that had allowed the fire to spread with such devastating speed and intensity. Among the key findings were deficiencies in fire protection measures, including combustible concealed spaces, stairways without doors, and a lack of subdivisions in corridors. Additionally, the absence of an operating building-wide fire alarm system and delays in fire department notification further exacerbated the tragedy. In the wake of the fire, Mayor Richard Daley vowed to re-examine fire and safety codes for all single-room occupancy buildings in the city. The Paxton Hotel had lacked fire alarms and sprinklers, a stark reminder of the lower fire protection standards afforded to SROs. Despite arguments in favor of these reduced standards, Mayor Daley recognized the urgent need for enhanced safety measures to prevent future tragedies. As authorities grappled with the aftermath of the fire, questions arose about its cause. While the police bomb and arson squad maintained that the fire was accidental, concerns were raised about the possibility of arson. The rapid spread of the fire through the stairwells fueled suspicions, prompting ongoing investigations into the tragic event's origins. The Paxton Hotel fire stands as one of the deadliest fires in Chicago's history, leaving an indelible mark on the city and its residents. The loss of 20 lives served as a stark reminder of the devastating power of fire and the critical importance of fire safety measures. In its aftermath, the tragedy sparked significant changes to the city's fire code, particularly for single-room occupancy hotels. Despite the immense loss and grief, the Paxton Hotel fire also served as a catalyst for change, galvanizing efforts to improve fire safety and prevention measures across Chicago. As the city mourned the lives lost in the inferno, it also vowed to honor their memory by ensuring that such a tragedy would never be repeated. If you found this content helpful, please give it a like and share it with others who might benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Your support helps us create more informative content.